With an average of one pet going missing every 2 minutes, there are a total of nearly 300,000 lost or stolen animals each year across the UK. Joining me today to tell us a little bit more about ways to keep your animals safe, as well as some new legislation that will affect pet owners everywhere, is TV vet Emma Milne, and from Petlog, Celia Walsam. Welcome, ladies.
Thanks.
Now, we have new legislation coming in 2016 for dog owners. Tell me a little bit about that, Celia.
Well, on 6th of February, the government announced that compulsory microchipping would come into force for all dogs in England as from April 2016. So that's to support animal welfare, responsible pet ownership, and actually reduce the number of strays that we get each year, and therefore it's going to be the dog owner's responsibility to make sure their dog's microchipped and that they keep their details up to date on a microchipping database.
Well, it sounds sensible to me. Emma, the actual process of microchipping, I mean, is it a difficult procedure or is it fairly easy? Should people be worried about it anyway?
I think one of the biggest concerns that clients have is whether it's going to hurt their animals. You know, obviously they're a member of our family. We don't want to put them through stuff that's going to be uncomfortable. It's just the same as any other injection, slightly bigger needle, but it goes under the scruff for dogs and cats, and it is over within seconds.
Yeah.
So it's just the same, you know, it would be less painful than your children's vaccinations for anyone who's had that done, or any human injections are muscular, so they're a bit more painful. So it's very, you know, you'll always have some animals that have got a slightly lower pain threshold who might have a whine, but it's very, very, you know, it's over in seconds.
Yeah. And should you take all animals to get them microchipped, or is it just cats and dogs?
Well, theoretically, you can chip any animal, and lots of people have their horses chipped, particularly now with the new passports for those. But yeah, any animal you can chip. And obviously, if you've got an animal like a hamster or something that's going to be indoors all the time, you don't need to worry.
No.
But I think, you know, this legislation's coming in for dogs, but cats we see all the time coming into the surgery with no collars, and they've been injured on the road, and we can't reunite them if they've got no other identification. So to all of us in the animal world, regardless of the law, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
it's, you know,
makes sense.
Yeah, and it's so cost effective. It's probably £10 to £20.
Gosh, that's really affordable. When I had my first cat done, it was about 80 or 90, so the cost has come right down. And I know times are tight at the moment, and people are thinking, oh, can I afford to get it done? But when you're talking 10, 20, 30 pounds, it becomes a bit of a no-brainer.
Yeah, and when you compare it to the other costs of pet keeping, it's probably the cheapest thing you'll ever have done for them.
Yeah.
So it is inexpensive, and if people honestly haven't got £10, then, you know, just put £1 aside for a couple of months, you know, a week, you know, do it and have it done in a couple of months' time. So it's for the long-term benefits, it's, you know, it's priceless.
Yeah. So how, if you lose your pet, Celia, what's the process involved in finding them with the microchip?
Well, if you get pets microchipped, make sure the details are up to date. Tell the microchip database the pet's lost so that we can mark it on the database and alert certain organisations. And then once the pet's found, as Emma said, it can be scanned for identification. The microchip will then trigger a unique 15-digit number which is linked to your contact details, and the authorised user who's been security checked can retrieve that data from the database and then reunite the pet, and it is as simple as that.
And
but it is all about keeping those details up to date.
That's paramount, isn't it? Because if you've
Absolutely.
got out-of-date details, it's worthless at the end of the day.
And the system definitely works because on average each month we reunite about 7,500 pets that have been microchipped with their owners.
Fantastic figures. So obviously it's definitely a great thing to have. Are there any other things that we can do to ensure that our pets stay safe?
Well, I think all the sort of usual things, make sure they're identified, and with dogs particularly, you know, things like basic training, good recall, good socialisation, and for cats and dogs, neutering, because that's going to stop a lot of them wandering off and going too far from home. But I think, you know, fundamentally I would say don't wait till 2016.
No.
You know, that's when the law says we've got to do it, but actually we should all be doing it anyway because it's the right thing to do.
And just to a final point, is there GPS with these tracking devices?
No, not today,
No?
and we don't certainly see it in the near future. It is just a chip with a unique 15-digit code on it to identify the pet. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, as a pet owner, a cat owner who has been reunited with her cat after 8 weeks of going missing through a microchip, I can highly recommend them. My thanks to Emma and also Celia for joining us today. Thank you, ladies. It's been a pleasure. And if you want to find out more about microchipping your pet, all you need to do is go to the website tracer-microchips.co.uk. That's tracer-microchips.co.uk, and you can find out there your nearest Tracer surgery with their handy practice finder, and you can find everything you need to know. But thank you very much for joining us today, and goodbye.